The figure of San Gerardo, patron saint of Potenza. San Gerardo La Porta is the patron saint of the town and also of the Archdiocese of Potenza. Born in Piacenza around 1050 in the noble and distinguished La Porta family, around 1100 Gerardo headed towards southern Italy, ruled at that time by the Normans, when the new lords of the south began an important ecclesiastical reform of Latin obedience, probably to be closer to embarkation points of the Crusaders who were directed towards the holy places. However, once in Potenza, he began to devote himself to the apostolate by founding a school that was open most especially to young people in the cathedral. Attentive to the morality of his new people and the needs of the poor, he made both his profound culture and his goodness available to everyone, thus immediately attracting the favor and love of the people of Potenza. So much so that when the bishop, also named Gerardo, died, the clergy and the people chose him as his successor. The Metropolitan Archbishop of Acerenza ordained him bishop in 1111, when Gerardo was already elderly and led the Church of Potenza for 8 years. As bishop, Gerardo distinguished himself for his episcopal style, sober up to the point that he seemed to be a monk, both for his virtues and thaumaturgical qualities, which he had the opportunity to show while he was still alive by means of miraculous signs, such as the transmutation of water into wine. He died on October 30th, 1119. At his death, many miracles began to occur. In fact, all the people who visited his grave in the church were cured from their illnesses immediately. His figure is particularly invoked to heal melancholy and dementia, as the diseases of depression and Alzheimer's were then called. But healing of the blind, deaf, and the crippled are also attributed to him, as well as the releasing of prisoners. In 1123, a few years after his death, Pope Callistus II proclaimed him, by popular acclaim, a saint, and thus he became the patron saint of the town and Archdiocese of Potenza. Since then, people from Potenza have never forgotten their saint and have always turned to him in the most difficult situations. The relics of San Gerardo rest in a sarcophagus under the altar dedicated to him inside this cathedral. Above the same altar, inside a shrine, there is a polychrome wooden statue dating back to the 15th century who represents him on the throne in the act of making blessings, with the mitre and with the pastoral staff, crosier, in his left hand. The saint is honored in particular on October the 30th, which is the day of his death, and on May the 30th, in memory of the translation of his bones carried out by Bishop Alberto in 1250. In occasion of the celebrations of May the 30th, a silver bust of the saint is carried in procession, now preserved in the nearby Bishop's Palace. This bust was made in 1951 after the image of a previous 18th century bust destroyed by the bombing in 1943. In 2019, the 9th centenary of San Gerardo's death was celebrated, and the entire town of Potenza was thus able to go even deeper into the magnificent spiritual presence which this saint still donates today.